Hey, hey, hey. Hey, financial besties. How you doing? How you been? How you doing? How you been? Who is with me tonight? Who's with me tonight? Y'all know the routine. Drop some money babies in the chat. Drop some money babies and let me know how you feeling. How y'all feeling tonight? And if you're watching a replay, comment replay gang so I'll know you were here. You know I love y'all like cake. I appreciate all of you for being here, whether you're watching live or watching the replay. I love you all the same. Now, all month, we have been recognizing Financial Literacy Month for the month of April with conversations on millionaire money moves for women in their 20s, their 30s, and their 40s. So far, those are the videos we've done. We've discussed increasing your income, we've discussed paying off debt, we've discussed mental health, we've discussed savings, and of course, my favorite topic, investing. I will link to the Money Moves playlist video somewhere up here. Yeah. But for tonight and the last video in the Money Moves series, we are going to talk about money moves for women in their 50s and beyond who are preparing for retirement. And y'all, I'm going to have a special guest tonight that is living her best life. She is living her life like it's golden in retirement. You hear me? So if you are in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, don't fret. This video is for you too. In fact, I'm going to say this video is for us. This video is for us because I'm being a little selfish. I'm bringing this guest on tonight because I think we can all learn a thing or two from her. In fact, I want to be like her when I grow up. And you'll see why in a minute. So hang out with us tonight. Like the video if you enjoy it. And please share it with other women you know who would like to retire without worrying about money. But before we begin, if you are new to me, hey girl, hey. My name is Malika. I'm a money coach and the founder of Fabulous Financials. As a coach, I help Black women learn how to invest in the stock market with ease so you can create money babies without labor and live your best life in retirement. So if that sounds like your vibe, then I invite you to subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel, girl, and turn on that notification bell while you're down there so you will be notified the next time I upload a new video or go live, which I do sometimes on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. Some Fridays I might skip a few when I'm out gallivanting in these streets, but you will be notified the next time I upload a new video and the times when I do go live. So welcome, friend. Welcome. Let me say hello to my besties that are with us. Let's see who are with us tonight. Dr. Donna, the art appraiser. It's so good to see your name again. I have seen your name before, so I am happy that you're a bestie now. Hello, hello to you too. And you're so very welcome. Hello, Midlife Money Moves, Miss Greta King. What's up, Miss Greta King? Donna, you said my conversation with Blacks at Global has been awesome. Aw, I am so happy to hear that. Yes, and look, Sage. Hi, Sage. And your mama, the Gallivanting Grandma, is the best at making money moves. Yes. I agree. I most certainly agree. Let's see. Greta is a woman in her 50s. You're looking forward to this one? Yes, I'm looking forward to it too, Miss Greta. I'm not in my 50s yet, but I will be soon. And when I tell y'all, she gonna come with all the sauce and drop all the gems. I'm gonna be taking notes. Let's keep it real. Jametta Johnson, what's up, girl? You've been waiting on this one since you are 60 plus. Yes, this video is for you. I'm so glad you're here. Miss Deneen Rogers, hey girl, hey. And Miss Lena DRD, hey Lena, how you doing? How you been? One more thing I need to share before we get started. So in the last live stream, you all asked me if I was going to create an investing challenge. And then I did a poll on the community page. So based on your requests and the responses to the poll on the community page, about 77% of you said, yes, you want me to create an investing challenge. So your wish is my command. And I have decided to create the Your First 100K investing challenge. Right now, what I can tell you is it will be 3 days. It will be a challenge for 3 days. It will be challenging. A challenge should be challenging. And what I mean by that is I'm going to coach you for 3 days, and I'm also going to challenge you to take action every single day of those 3 days. And in order to get the full benefit of it, you're going to have to be present all 3 days and complete the daily action items that I give you all 3 days. This challenge is not going to be free. In fact, I'm thinking it's going to cost about $97. In order for you to get the full benefit, to get your money's worth and more, because my goal is to help you prepare to build your first 100K investment portfolio. So for $97, in order for you to get the full benefit of that, you need to be present and you need to take action. If you are interested in the challenge, based on everything I just said, make sure you grab a copy of my free investor guide. That will get you started before the challenge, and that will also put you on my email list. I'm going to share a link to that in the comments. It's there in the comments, so you can grab that guide and get on my email list, so you will be notified when I am ready to release the challenge. You can build your first 100K portfolio. The other thing I wanted to share is VIP channel members. We usually have our private live stream once a month. Unfortunately, there will not be a private live stream tonight because I'm still on my road trip, and I told my travel buddy that we're going to go out for some drinks and we're going to go out for some food after this live stream is over. However, to make it up to you, I've decided that the investing challenge, if you choose to participate, it will be free for you. If you are not a VIP channel member, you can join us here. I'm going to drop the link for that as well. But as an apology for not being available for a private live stream tonight, my VIP channel members, you can participate in the first investing challenge for free. But anyway, where were we? Let's get this party started. Continuing with the Money Moves series. Money Moves for women in their 50s and beyond. My special guest tonight is someone that I call my travel godmother. Her name is Miss Diamond, aka the Gallivanting Grandma. Hey, Miss Diamond.
Hey, Malika Money Coach. Girl, I'm so happy to be here with you and your financial besties. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yes, my financial besties, and thank you for coming to share your wisdom with us. In fact, hold on one second, because when I said I was going to take notes from this session, I'm going to be a student tonight. I meant what I said. I'm not playing, y'all. Y'all better get ready because Miss Diamond is living her best life. So if you could tell us, Miss Diamond.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you feeling? Where are you tonight?
Girl, you know I love you, right? I love you, Malika, the money coach, because I am in Portugal and it is currently midnight, a little bit after midnight. So, you know, my heart is like yours tonight, all right?
I am so honored. Y'all, I did not know she was in Portugal. And when
you don't never know where I'm gonna be.
Don't never know. She Gallivanting Grandma. She all over the world. All over the world, y'all. And I can't wait to get into how she does this in retirement. But when she said she was in Panama, Portugal, I was like, oh my God, it's so late. I'm so sorry.
No, it is. But you know what? I would not be up on a Friday night on a live with anybody but you. So again, thank you so much for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. Y'all say hello to my travel godmother. And I think
Oh,
Miss Diamond's daughter, real daughter, is in the house. Hey, Say.
girl,
See,
wait a
that's my
minute. I saw Sage pop
is,
up and I'm like,
is
wait a
that
minute, Simone
her?
and Layla. Hi, babies.
Hey, sis. How you
Yes.
doing, sis? And look, hey, multifaceted me. No, ma'am, we ain't get the party started without you. You are right on
Right
time.
on time.
You are right
Absolutely
on
on time.
time. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Diamond, tell me, how did you get the name Gallivanting Grandma? Where did that come from?
Oh my goodness, it's gonna pop up in the chat in the comments because my daughter said to me, when I started this travel journey full
Mhm.
time, she said, "Ma, you always gallivanting somewhere." And I'm a grandma. I only have one. I got one daughter, one grandma, one granddaughter. So that's it. I'm the gallivanting grandma because I'm everywhere, but I'm a grandma.
You're
They have my
everywhere.
heart. Yeah.
You're everywhere. How are you? Are you officially retired now?
Well, can I plead the fifth on that one? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I really am. I retired myself, honestly, at 59.
Mm,
My then
you retired
employer and
early.
I did. My then
Mhm.
employer and we parted ways. Um, After they told me that I had to come back, and I wasn't ready to come back after my wellness sabbatical. So I had a hard decision to make at that point in my life. And I chose me over the
Mhm.
job for the first
Mhm.
time in my life. So yeah, I'm retired. I will be 62, God willing, come August.
Okay.
And yeah, Uncle Sam gonna start running me my check.
Run me my money as soon as I'm eligible. You hear me? Run me my coins, please, at 62. I know
At
that's right.
62, yes, ma'am. I feel
I
I
know
can
that's
do a
right.
better job with it, especially with Malika, the money coach, by my side. I can do a better job with my money than he ever could, right?
You know I got you. You know I got you. So you retired before being eligible for Social Security.
I did.
And anything in your 50s is considered retiring early. Can
Yeah,
we
yeah.
talk about how you financially prepared for that? Like, how was that possible?
I think in the back of my mind, I always knew that I was going to do it early.
Uh-huh.
It was just a matter of putting some action behind that faith muscle, right?
Mhm.
And the year before I parted ways, I started to maximize my 401k.
Mm.
So, where I was investing, let's just say 30% of my paycheck at that time,
Mhm.
I, for an entire year, invested 80% because, yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I had lost both my parents. And so I was in a position where I didn't have any overhead expenses at that point. I was in my parents' home until all of that got settled. And so
Okay.
I took that opportunity to maximize my contributions. So I was able to save over $30,000 in that one year just by adding to my 401k.
Okay. Okay. So you moved into your parents' home
Mm-hmm.
and you reduce your expenses significantly.
Significantly.
Right. But
Yeah.
let's back up. I think
Mm-hmm.
contributing 30% is still impressive.
Yeah.
So how were you able to contribute 30%? I'm assuming that you didn't have any debt or you paid off
I
your
had,
debt.
yeah, I had very little debt.
Hmm.
And the consumer debt that I had was on a 0% interest. It was like, you move it over from one card to the other card. And I took advantage of that and paid that down significantly during that year as well. So I really had very little debt. My car was paid off. I sold it. I purged everything when I decided to start this journey. So the money that I was able to collect by just getting rid of those things that I had accumulated, those material items, I stacked it in that travel budget.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
You know what? Buying stuff,
Yeah.
look,
Oh,
it can keep you from your freedom.
absolutely. Because you're then tethered. That's my daughter's word. Tethered
Hmm.
to the stuff, right?
Hmm.
I was not tethered to a house, so I didn't have
Hmm.
a mortgage at that point, right? Or since I should say, no real material stuff that I cared about that I needed to hold on to, no storage in my life at this point. So yeah,
Mhm.
just completely free.
Yeah, completely free. So what I
Hmm.
hear from you is like in the very beginning when you started thinking about
Hmm.
early retirement was managing, having a strategy to pay down the consumer debt. And your
Absolutely.
strategy was the balance transfer. So
Yep.
what Ms. Diamond just described is basically opening a new credit card, right?
Hmm.
That
Yep.
allows you to transfer the balance from your old credit card. And it gives you a period of time for having a 0% interest rate, usually
Correct.
12 months, 18 months. And if you pay off that balance within that 0% period, you're not adding new debt on top of that. Interest is not compounding on top of that.
Exactly, exactly. And that compound interest can kill you in the end. I mean, you think, let's just say you got $7,000 worth of consumer debt. If you're at some place like 20%, that's significant
Yeah.
just in interest alone. So yeah, it was important for me to eliminate that.
So you want to stop
Hmm.
the bleeding by stopping the interest from compounding.
There you go. You got the
That's
words.
That's a gem. That's a gem. Yeah. And there are a lot of credit cards out there that offer balance transfers, but
Yeah.
there's just two things I want to make you aware of if anyone is considering doing that for paying off the credit card debt. Just be aware of the time period, the time frame for that balance transfer period to be 0%. Because a lot of credit cards, let's say they give you 12 months at 0%. If you transfer that balance, you have 12 months to pay it off with no interest. But if
Yes.
you go 12 months in a day, a lot of credit cards will apply the interest retroactively.
Yep.
So just be aware of that and make sure you have a plan and a strategy to pay off that debt within that period for the balance transfer. The other thing I want you to be aware of is some cards, not all of them, but some cards charge you a balance transfer fee. It's
Yeah.
usually about between 1% and 3%. So you're going to pay that up front. They're going to add it to your balance. But if you are able to pay off that balance within that period they give you with 0%, that fee could be worth it because it's probably less than what you're paying in compound interest with the credit card that you're transferring from.
Exactly.
Right, right. That's
Exactly.
that's a gem. That's a gem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So by managing your debt, you were able to
Hmm.
contribute 30% to your retirement account. And then
Hmm.
when you moved in with your parents and you reduced all of your expenses just about, you were able
Hmm.
to bump that up to what percentage?
80.
To 80%.
Yeah.
80%. So we got a question for you from Greta
Hmm.
King. She wants
Hmm.
to know, was the 80% contribution all in your 401k?
Yes, it was. Hmm.
All in your
Yeah.
401k.
And I did put it all in my 401k because I believe in leaving no money on the table, and my employer was going to match. And I wanted that match
Mhm,
as high as possible. So yes, it was all in my 401k at that time. Hmm.
mhm. And after the age of 50, so there's an IRS limit to contribute to your 401k every year. And for 2024, I think the limit is $23,000. But after the age of 50, they allow extra. It's called catch up contributions. So if you're under 50, you can only contribute $23,000. But if you're 50 or over, you can contribute the catch up, which is another $7,000, I believe. I'm just double checking real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think I put away close to 30,000, and I was right at that
Mhm.
max. I was
Yep.
right at the max. Yep.
Yeah. So over the age 50, you get an extra $7,000 for a total of 30,000. Thank you, Miss Greta, for a total of 30,000 if you're 50 and over. So,
Yep.
and that starts in the year you turn 50. So let's say you're 49 right now and you turn 50 in November or December. This year still counts for you. You can still contribute that catch up contribution. Good, good stuff. Let me scroll the
Yep.
comments real quick. Which, by
Hmm.
the way, if you have any questions, please put a Q in front of it. That way we can find it a little faster as the comments are going by. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Did you experience any financial setbacks or financial hardships when you decided to start planning for your early retirement?
Well, I would have to say yes. I was a new divorcee after a 23-year marriage. So I went from a dual earning household to just myself. And I had not worked like for almost 6 years at that point. So I had to re-enter the workplace. So I was kind of starting behind the eight ball, and that was kind of scary.
Mhm.
At that point, it was like, all right, who's going to hire me at 55 and what am I going to do type of
Yeah.
thing. So, yeah, I did. I had that. But, the momentum carried me forward because you
Mm.
got to do what you got to do, right? I
Especially
like to
when you
eat and I
got,
like to eat well.
especially when you got babies and grandbabies
Hey,
to help take
absolutely.
care of. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was during COVID time that all this was going on. So it was just um, it was a very challenging period in life all around. And
Hmm.
then, you compound the divorce and all of that. And so, yeah, it was challenging, but that's what makes it a triumphant story.
So during your divorce, did you have to take on any debt, any marriage debt, and pay off yourself?
No,
Oh.
thank God I did not. And also thank the heavens for alimony. you know,
Oh, yeah, yes.
get through all of that. And I don't know, I would just want to touch on that. Women,
Mhm.
I love. I believe in love and I believe in marriage. And when it's good, it's good. And when it works. But when it no longer works, make sure that you're getting what you're entitled to. I put in 23 years on that particular job. And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I walked away with lifetime alimony. And so you don't know what you're entitled to until you start asking the right questions. So get yourself in a position that if that is something, a transition that you're going through in your life, that you get what you are entitled to.
That's so good. So did you have a prenup that already outlined the alimony? No?
I didn't, but I will share quite candidly, it was a matter of I was married in the state of South Carolina,
Mhm.
and in that state adultery is against the law. And so
Ah.
if you can prove it, then you just pretty much win. So again, just know what you're entitled to, and unfortunately that was the reason behind my divorce, but it turned out to be for my benefit in the
See, I
end.
told y'all we were going to learn something. Who knew that there were states
There
where
are states where
adultery
it's illegal.
is against the law? I was today years old when I learned that.
All right. Well, if anybody is in the South Carolina area, it is against the law. It's illegal. So you
I
pretty much win if you can prove it.
Miss Greta said North Carolina has the same law. I did not know that.
North Carolina also has an
Wow.
interesting law where if you can prove that the other party was the reason behind the adultery, that you can go after that person as well. So again, understand the state that you live in, understand the laws, understand that, if this is your lot in life at that time in your marriage, be wise. I
You
don't I don't have
Jezebels out
these gray
there better
hairs for
be
no
careful.
reason. Be wise.
Y'all side chicks. Y'all better be careful.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
So, yeah,
So is
and this
there
was a
some
few years ago. So,
Mhm.
check. I am not an attorney, but
Right.
check the laws in your state. But
Disclaimers
absolutely,
are needed. Mhm.
absolutely, just know what you're entitled to.
Wow. So did you know that already or you had a good attorney that told you?
Girl, I had a great attorney, and she was a sister girl, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, it was just make sure that you dot the I's and cross the T's
Mhm.
and go in with a winning situation. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
You
get
know
yourself a
what?
good attorney.
I love that. I love that. It's unfortunate you had to
Mm-hmm.
experience that, but the same
Mm-hmm.
thing applies when you're working a job and you're working in a toxic work environment, or you're working in an environment where you're dealing with racism and discrimination. The experience is unfortunate, but
Yep.
also know your rights.
Know your
Know your
rights.
rights and get what you are entitled to because of the situation that you're experiencing.
Exactly. And if it's a workplace situation, let me just say that HR is not your friend.
Absolutely.
HR is there to take care of your employer.
Hmm.
HR is not your friend. So find someone who's in that HR community who has your best interest at heart and can advise you as such, because we leave so much on the table
Leave so much.
because we don't feel we're entitled. We have some guilt, some shame, some whatever comes along with losing a job or the end of a marriage, and so you feel all of that, but your emotions cannot outweigh the wisdom. So be
Yes.
wise about your situation.
And do not leave money on the table that's yours.
Ever, ever.
It's yours.
Yeah, you've earned it.
It's so important to have wise counsel, because when you're going through it, when you're in the midst of it,
Hmm.
you're so
Hmm.
stressed out and you,
Oh,
you don't know
absolutely.
what you don't know.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I would have never known that. I would have never known that. And you're right. HR is not your friend. HR is there to protect the company from lawsuits.
That's right. That's their
That's
their
it.
primary job. So, if you think you're going to HR and you're stating your case, they're going to listen, as they should. But at the end of the day, whatever's in the company's best interest is going to be the overwhelming decision.
And the only reason why they're listening is because they're listening to take notes to protect the company.
Exactly. It's just like an insurance company, right? You don't talk to the insurance company when you have an accident. You just don't.
Exactly. I want a lawyer, please. Let me talk to my lawyer.
Please. That's right. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. Look, gem
Hmm.
number two, don't leave your money on the table, whether it's a bad marriage or a bad job.
No,
Get
no, no, no.
what
Yeah.
you are entitled to.
Yes,
Get
yes.
wise
So
counsel.
did we talk about the fact that I'm a global nomad?
Not yet, but we're getting there, because Miss Gallivanting Grandma all over the world. I didn't even know you was in Portugal. We are getting there. So your parents
Hmm.
passed away and you
Yes.
went through a divorce. Did all this happen in a short time frame?
Oh my goodness, yes, in a very short time frame. So
Oh,
over the course of a year and a half.
oh, wow.
So it was compound trauma in my life at that time. And then again, add COVID and all of those challenges. And yeah, it was a difficult time in life. But, I thank God for support. My
Mm,
babies, we were all together during that time and we could support
yes.
one another in every way needed, emotionally, mentally, financially. We were together. And so that made the big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Hmm.
want to highlight some questions for you before I ask my
Sure.
next question. Um, Multifaceted Me is asking, when you contributed to your 401k, do you get to choose the investments while you're still working?
Um, no. Well, that's a yes and no answer because you do get a statement which allows you to determine what the diversity of your portfolio looks like. If you're more of a risk taker, then you can have more in stocks, and that sort of thing. And you could probably speak to that better than I can. But I know that when I was investing my maximum amount, I changed my portfolio, the diversity of it, so that I had more in bonds and money market,
Okay.
because I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to work or if I want to work any further and add to this. So I was playing it safe.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Good to know. Yes, multifaceted me. You are limited to the options that your employer provides, but you can choose what to invest in based on the
Hmm.
options that are available to you. If
Right.
you do not choose, your employer will choose for you, and the default is usually the safest, which is
Hmm.
probably a money market or bond, like Miss Diamond just mentioned.
Hmm.
So it depends on what your employer offers and makes available to you. For myself, when I was still employed, I had all of my funds in the fund that was available to me that was the most equivalent to the stock market. I'm a
Hmm.
risk taker. I have a high risk tolerance. I want all of my money working for me and compounding as much as
Hmm.
possible. In fact,
Yeah.
it's still doing the same thing. I have
Okay.
many, many years ahead of me before I'll start drawing down from my retirement accounts. But if
Hmm.
you are risk averse, like Miss Diamond just mentioned, she said she had all of her money in a money market fund and bonds. That's
Yeah,
okay too, if that's your choice. We all have different risk tolerance, and neither is good or bad. It's
right.
all about your risk tolerance and what you choose.
And it's interesting, Malika, because that will change over time, right? So when I was younger and I started investing, I
Mhm.
was more of a risk taker because I was at, the beginning and some of the highest earnings that I had.
Mhm.
So don't be afraid to change the mix that you have, depending on
Mhm.
what's going on in your life. You may need to play it safe, and sometimes you might get a windfall, and you want to just, play the stock market. So
Mhm.
don't be afraid to change your diversification.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a financial advisor, so I cannot give you financial advice and tell you what to invest in. But
Hmm.
traditional wisdom, traditional rules of thumb, usually the older you get, the more you start shifting your asset allocation to more safer assets. So you start shifting away from stocks more over to bonds. Maybe not all of it all at one time,
Hmm.
but let's say you're in your 50s and you're 80-20, 80% in stocks, 20% in bonds. So when you get in your 60s, you may want to shift another 10, 20% into bonds. When you get into your 80s, you may be mostly in bonds. So your risk tolerance change based on the time horizon that you have available before you'll need to access the money. But that's
Makes
usually
sense.
the traditional rule of thumb. But yes,
Hmm.
good stuff. Yeah, my Spike said HR is not for you, it's for them.
It's for
I,
them.
I saw that interview on Club Shay Shay. That Amanda Seals interview was so good. It was so good.
I didn't see that
Mhm.
yet.
Yeah, it was good. It really, that's not for this conversation, but it was good.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole because it was pretty
Yeah.
long. But if you have
Okay.
time, it's something worth watching.
Okay.
But anyway, getting
Yeah.
back to your story. So you had a domino effect of life events that came down on you all
Hmm.
at once, and COVID on top of that.
Yeah. 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 That
So
part.
you had your family, you had your daughter and your granddaughter with you for
Hmm.
support. What else did you do to cope with the changes that you were going through? How did you manage the stress with the transition from also leaving your employer
Yeah,
at the same
yeah.
time?
Well, like I said, it was a decision that was kind of hard to come to at that time because it was the first time that I hadn't been gainfully employed, um, either as an entrepreneur or like those 5 years when I was married and didn't work. Um, so saying goodbye to gainful employment was hard,
Scary.
and you talk about anxiety. I was like, well, what am I going to do now, because how do I take care of myself? But that's where house sitting entered, and I was on a 60-day sabbatical, which was paid for by my employer. Again, talk to HR, know what you're entitled to, and be firm about what you're asking for. They did give me 60 days to get it together. And I was superwoman. I could get it together in 60 days, right? Come on, I could do anything in 2 months.
Mhm.
Shoot. Day 50, I was like, I can't go back.
So
I'm
wait a
not
minute. Let's
ready.
let's let's back up. So you went to your employer and you asked for 60 days for what? Like what was the basis of your request?
Well, my parents passed within 23 days of one another, so it was a huge loss. The day I was due back from my mom's bereavement, my father died. So my slip was showing. Everything was just like the balls were dropping. I was falling apart. And I just said to my boss, I need a break. And she said, yeah, you do. And that is so unlike me. I was top of the game always. And she did. She gave me a 60-day sabbatical to kind of get it together. And I took myself to Ecuador at that time.
Mm.
And when day 50 rolled around and she started texting me again, she's like, we're so excited you're coming back. We're going back into the convention centers and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I can't do that. I need more time. And she couldn't grant me more time without guaranteeing a job. So I chose myself, like I said earlier. And that's where house sitting came in, because I'm like, all right, well, I'm paying for this beautiful oceanfront apartment in Ecuador and I'm loving it, but what am I going to do? At that point, I got a 5-month house sit in Mexico where I had absolutely no expenses. I just had to get there.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's peel back these layers. Let's peel back these layers. So another gem you just dropped is, ladies, when you are overwhelmed by life, in your 40s and 50s, you have so many responsibilities on your shoulders. Life
All the
be
hats.
lifing. You're stressed. Stop leaning into the strong Black woman trope.
Ooh.
We are not built to be robots. We are not built to carry the world on our shoulders.
Mm-mm.
Take a
We're
breath.
not built to carry it, but we're expected to carry it.
You're
And
expected to
the
carry.
the better that you carry it, the more you get to carry,
The
right? Oh,
more they pile on.
she can handle it. And so we do, right? Because that's what we do. We kind of, that indoctrination, right? So
Yeah.
you do what you do and you do it well, but then you don't even realize when your back is breaking. And
And
if you do, it might be at the point where, there's some real damage done. So take some time, breathe, and don't be afraid to put the bags down.
yes, put the bags down. And we may do it and do it well, but at what expense?
At what expense?
At what
Yeah.
expense? So what I heard from you is you saw your limits. You recognized your limits. And you went to your employer and said, I need a break.
Yeah.
I need a break. Now, did
Yeah.
you know that your employer would approve it with pay when you asked, or
No,
you were just willing to take it without
no.
pay?
I was willing to take it without pay.
Hmm.
I knew I had, I probably could have qualified for short-term disability.
Okay.
I didn't want to go that route unless it was absolutely necessary.
Hmm.
And it wound up that it wasn't. So I was one of the fortunate few who asked for the time off and was granted it with a full paycheck.
Okay.
Hmm.
Go to your employer. Talk to your
Hey,
employer. Read your employer handbook. Ask questions. Talk to HR. Take a
don't talk to
break.
your HR. Talk to somebody else's HR. My best girlfriend is a HR manager, and
Okay.
so she kind of guided me through the process and told me what to ask for, how to ask for it, and there's certain terminology you need to have the language, right?
Okay. Okay.
You need to have the language, and at that point, it was really a mental break that I
Mm.
requested. Mhm.
Mm. And you got approved with pay.
Yes, yes.
With pay. That part is important because we're going to get
Oh
back to your
yeah,
money in a minute. So you went to Ecuador for 60 days
yeah.
and had a fabulous experience.
I did. It was healing. That's what I went for. Was really I call it my wellness sabbatical.
Mhm.
And 60 days turned into 83 days in that country
Mhm.
before I moved on to Mexico. And at
Mhm.
that point, what Mexico did was give me a real mental break. At that point, I didn't have to worry about going back to a job. I had 5 months to figure it out. And so, in totality, I really had what, 7 months to figure out this new path in life, this new journey. And
Okay.
yeah,
So your employer continued paying you for 60 days, but then
yes.
you did another 5 months without pay. So how did you manage that?
Well, points are beautiful. So
Okay. Okay.
I had airline points.
Uh-huh.
So I used airline points to get from Charleston to Ecuador and
Okay.
then from Ecuador to Mexico. So that was no out of pocket expense.
Okay.
Um, like I said, it was a 5.5 month house sit in Mexico. So when you're house sitting, it's an exchange of services for accommodations. So I had no overhead expenses for those 5.5 months I was there. All I had to do was feed myself.
So tell us more about this house sitting. So how did you learn about house sitting? Did you learn about it in Ecuador? Why
No,
you
I kn- I really started looking at it during my mom's chemo because she was in her Zen space, and I always tried to fit my schedule around her sessions. So I would be with her, but she had her headphones on, and I'm like listening to something, and then I ran across the GOAT, Stephanie Perry,
Mhm.
on YouTube, and she was
Mhm.
talking about how she was traveling the world and not paying rent. And I was like, wait, what?
Wait,
Like,
what?
what? Wait, what? Like, that's a thing, I had never heard of it. And that's why I say representation matters, because had I not seen someone who looked like me talking about something that I didn't even know about, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Yeah. So you eliminated the biggest expense that we all have,
Oh
housing,
yeah. Yeah.
with
And
house
have effectively eliminated it for the last 3 years.
with house sitting.
Yes. I am a full-time global nomad and international house sitter. I have been in the country of Portugal since the beginning of March. And my sit schedule, I arranged it this year where it's not back to back sits. So I've been taking, little long weekends and stuff. But out of pocket for the last 45 days, I've probably paid for about six.
So I'm, I'm trying to make sure that we cover every hole, because I know people watching like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah,
If
it's
y'all
a
have questions for
thing.
Miss Diamond, put them in the comments. But I'll try to fill in the holes as much as I can for you. So employer paid you for 60 days. You
Yes.
learned about house sitting from Stephanie Perry, and you got a
Hmm.
5-month house sit where you lived mortgage and rent free
Yeah.
in Mexico for 5 months. And
Yeah.
you use airline points, which are rewards from your credit card, to pay for
Exactly.
the flight to get there.
Hmm.
Okay, I need to know
Hmm.
more. And for 3 years, you have been living overhead free.
Yes. Completely untethered. So, I don't have the car payment, the car insurance. I have no rent. I have no mortgage. Now, I will say that this lifestyle fits me perfectly because I can live out of a suitcase and I enjoy the global travel and flexibility that I have. I can't say that that is the case for everyone. I don't feel the need for a home base at this point in my life. So it works perfectly for me. And I think for other sisters who are out there who are looking for an out of the box type of solution or option, I say try it. Try it. You have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to win.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. This is so good. We have a lot to unpack. Multifaceted me, I'm thinking the same thing. Bow down. 3 years of no mortgage completely eliminated the biggest expense of her life, and gallivanting all over the world
Yeah.
with house sitting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the gaps in between your house sitting,
Hmm.
you do pay for that out of pocket,
Yes,
right?
yes, I do. Yes,
Okay.
I do. So I will say that, you can't do international house sitting full time without having a budget and a budget that you stick to. So I know when I come to Portugal, before I even accept sits in a particular country or an area of the country, I need to find out if this doesn't go as I plan, can I really afford to stay here myself? So your budget is very, very important. And my budget right now is period $700 a month. So I live for $700 a month in the most fabulous places in the world.
So where have you been this year?
I started the year in Boquete, Panama. From there, I went to, we hooked up in Guatemala
Yes,
and I had a great time. We were
I
in
did
Guatemala.
too. That's where you
Uh,
stole my heart.
and you stole mine. Absolutely. It was a fabulous time.
Yes.
And then I took a break because now I can. So for the month of February, I went to the country of Colombia and I enjoyed that country for the entire month of February. And then I picked house sitting back up with Portugal and moving on to Spain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just 4 months. We only in April, y'all.
We're only in April.
She named like 5 countries. Wow. So living on $700 a month out of pocket because
Yeah.
house sitting allows you to live for free. So Miss Greta
Yes.
King had a good question.
Hmm.
So you are 62 now and about to start drawing down from Social Security.
Hmm.
So up until that point, you had no Social Security. So were you drawing down from your 401k?
No, no.
No.
What I have been able to do is, and I implore everybody, is to
Mhm.
take time to explore your gifts and your talents. What
Okay.
you are doing for someone else, you most probably can do for yourself. And because I don't have the stress of housing and accommodations, I have the flexibility to now do consulting and affiliate marketing and things that are new streams of income that I can do from anywhere in the world. So explore your gifts. Don't touch your 401k because that's your nest egg. You're going to need it. And I have been fortunate enough to have had some savings on the side. And I am perfectly happy to say that it was $7,000 that first year that I started traveling. I used probably 5,000 of it.
Okay. In a whole
Yeah.
year,
Uh-huh.
only 5,000. So
5,000.
you were house sitting that first year too,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
7,000 out, 5,000 in 1 year out of
Yeah.
pocket.
Out of
Wow.
pocket. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Miss Greta, nope, she is not using the 4% rule to withdraw from her 401k. Do you have a plan to start withdrawing from your 401k?
Not yet. Mm-mm.
Not yet, because you have
Mm-mm.
other means
I
of
d-
income.
exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
So, I'm thinking, and I
Mhm.
am not a financial coach or anything, but
Mhm.
I'm thinking that when I start getting my Social Security at 62, that
Mhm.
it's going to be invested for the most part because I'm not spending that kind of money at this point anyway.
Mhm.
But like I said, I can make better decisions with it than the government can. So
Mhm.
that's my short-term plan.
I agree with that. And that's why the majority of my funds are still in the market. And
Hmm.
it'll probably be decades before I start shifting to bonds and money market because even when I do get to traditional retirement age, I won't need all of it.
Right,
I won't
right,
need access to everything I have invested. So there's no need to move everything over. I will
right.
probably keep at least half of my retirement funds still
That's
housing
fabulous.
in the market. If I don't
Yeah,
need it, there's no need for me to transition it over and take it out. Um,
exactly.
but in terms of Miss Greta, the question that you asked, in terms of like the percentage that you use for your drawdown, that all depends on your expenses and
Hmm.
how much you need. And based on what Ms. Diamond is sharing with us, the gem that I'm taking away is reducing your expenses as much as possible. And if you can
Absolutely.
eliminate that biggest expense, housing,
Ooh.
you need less and less. She lives on
Hmm.
$700 a month. So if
Hmm.
your expenses are not 4% of what you have invested, it really doesn't make sense to withdraw 4%. If you only need 2%, withdraw 2%. If it's
Yeah,
3%, withdraw 3%. So I know that the traditional rule of thumb, so I know where you got that percentage from. That's the traditional rule of thumb. But I would say evaluate your expenses and what you need. Take out what you need and leave the rest in the market to continue making money babies for you, right?
exactly.
And the
Yeah,
longer it's in the market, the more it compounds, the longer your money will last,
yeah. And
right?
then think about the fact that, I am not living in the United States. So,
Mm.
and I don't plan to live in the United States. So that, decrease, if I decide at any point that I'm going to put down roots and I am going to rent a place or I'm going to buy somewhere, it's not going to be in the United States. It's going to be significantly less expensive, right?
Mhm.
Outside of the country. So, figure it out. The world is big. You don't have to be in the United States. There are so many viable options outside of those borders that can help you live a really good life. What you're doing in the States with your money to survive, you can thrive elsewhere. I'm thriving on a dime.
You can thrive on less. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My plan is to eventually plant my feet abroad somewhere. I'm still
Hmm.
just slow traveling, trying to find what speaks to my heart, trying to find the place
Exactly.
that speaks to
And
me.
that's the fun part, right? I get to try on
Yes.
different countries all the time.
Look
Like
like
this
I'm
year,
trying on shoes.
right, right.
Yes.
This this year I'm revisiting some places that I thought like maybe Portugal or so this year I came back and I'm trying it on but seeing it with a different lens. Can I post up here 6 months to a year? I don't know. So and then exploring some new places as well. So this is a great way to explore your options again on a dime.
Yes, yes. So
Hmm.
Nina asked, do you maintain a U.S. home base or are you overseas 100%? So yeah, but one thing I do know about you though is when you
Hmm.
do come back to the United States, you house sit here too,
I
right?
do.
You
I
you
do.
don't have to have a home base when you're an international house sitter.
You do not. You do not. So,
Yes.
again, that's one of the beauties, right? So I usually try and I make it my business to be in the States with my daughter and my granddaughter the month of December. Her birthday is in December, it's the holiday season. So if nothing else, we're going to spend that time together. And listen, having your own place, which is a house sit, is wonderful. I always find a house sit that's 10-15 minutes from my daughter. So
Yes.
she comes to my joint, I go to her joint. It's wonderful.
Yes. I love that so much. So house sitting has changed the game for you.
Oh, completely.
Has
Completely and totally. Like I wanted to do international travel. That
Mhm,
was one of the things that I thought I had to defer as a dream
mhm,
after, being not being married anymore. I'm like, how am I going to do this? Where am I going to go? I had lofty dreams of travel. Um,
mhm,
but with house sitting, I didn't have to defer that dream at all. As a matter of fact, I dusted it off the shelf, shined it up.
mhm.
Now I carry it with me everywhere I go.
Everywhere you go, Miss International House Sitter.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask you, so as a Black woman,
Hmm.
the world at large,
Yeah,
there is racism everywhere.
everywhere.
Do you ever experience racism when you're house sitting for non brown people?
No, I
No?
have not. I have over 30 house sits under my belt,
Mhm.
and I have never sat for a Black family to date. So the way house sitting works is, they see your profile, you see them. So if they don't like Black people, they're not going to invite you. They're not going to accept your application, I guess. That's one that says declined, and that's no problem
Mhm.
because you don't want to go into a situation that is less than favorable for you.
Mhm.
But I have had absolutely no problems or concerns with my hosts. Now, like you said, there's racism in every country
Mhm.
on different levels. What
Right.
I find is that it is really not. It's more classism than it is
Mm.
just straight racism.
Yeah.
They don't see you and
Mhm.
just can't stand you because you're a Black person, like in
Mhm.
the United States. So
Mhm.
it's different levels. But
Mhm.
not if you can stand and thrive in the United States, oh, you have no problems overseas at all,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
at
It's like
all.
the United States prepared us for the worst of it, right?
Exactly right. And you're so pleasantly surprised when you are not dealing with those microaggressions that make you tense up behind the wheel, driving the car. You're not worried if the police is going to turn around and just because he saw that you were Black while you were driving, right? I don't
Mhm.
have those concerns when I drive outside the United States, and I've driven in like 5 countries.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So it sounds like house sitting is a viable option and a safe option for Black women around the world.
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
will say that I do this solo. This year is the first time that I'm actually teamed up with a house sitting buddy who's a very good sister friend of mine.
Mhm.
But for the 2 years previously, I did this by myself.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So if there's anyone watching that might want to learn more about house sitting, do you have any resources or do you teach people how to
I
house sit?
do.
Mhm,
So again, that's one of the things I said, explore your gifts. I
mhm,
became a successful house sitter as a Black woman, so I pay that forward. And I
mhm.
do offer consultations for anyone who's interested. And I also have a webinar that's coming up May 4th
Uh-huh.
from 3 to 4 Eastern Standard Time because I'm not going to do it at midnight in Portugal.
I'm so
But I'm teasing, but on May 4th, I am doing a 1 hour webinar for anyone who's interested, curious, has signed up and not done anything with it, because sometimes something sounds good and you sign up and you don't move on it. So this will be the inspiration and education that you'll need to get started successfully.
Okay, okay, good stuff. Send me the link for
Uh-huh.
anyone that wants to learn more, and I'll put it in the description box of this video. And Miss
Okay.
Say asked a really good question. So
Hmm.
even though house sitting eliminates your housing expenses, you still have other expenses, day to day living expenses, right? So
Yep.
Miss Sage asked, how did you even save up to make the life that you have now? How do you pay for your other expenses? How did you save? What did you do to accumulate the money before you got started with this lifestyle?
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, a lot of that had to do with the divorce. I'm going to tell you quite honestly. So I
Okay.
got a I got a chunk of change there, and a
Okay.
portion of that I set aside
Mhm.
for what I knew was coming down the pike, which was I just really need to take some time for myself. So I
Mhm.
put away some money, and I had that. But quite honestly, once I got from that house sit in Mexico, those
Mhm.
5 months, that's when I started putting together my consultation offering, my affiliate marketing, and I talk about that. I consult with people who are interested in doing that, and just setting up online streams of income that you can do remotely from anywhere in the world. And that really is what I eat and drink on a
Mm.
daily basis. So I don't even touch my savings.
Oh, so as long as you can create another source of income that you can do from anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
you can live off of that income, because
Absolutely.
living abroad is a lot cheaper than the United
A lot
States.
cheaper.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Hmm.
I was reading an article recently, and it was talking about, on average, the Social Security payout for most retirees is between 1,200 and 1,500 a month.
Right. Where
And
in the United States you gonna live on that?
ain't nobody living not comfortably, at least
Mm-mm. No, no,
in the
not at
United
all.
States, on 1,500 a month. So
No.
yeah, if you have a gift like Miss Diamond said, and you can monetize that gift to create another stream of income, that most certainly helps.
Yeah.
Um,
And we
and
all do. It just takes being intentional about looking inside, right? And
mm,
seeing what you have to offer.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Because even with this financial coaching thing for me, I never ever saw myself as an entrepreneur ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna work for 30 years. I'm gonna get these golden handcuffs, this golden parachute. I'm gonna put in my time, and I'm gonna get this payout at the end of the rainbow whenever that
Right.
time comes, and live
Right.
happily
Right.
ever after. People would suggest entrepreneurship, and I'm like, no, I'm an
Mm-hmm.
employee. I have that employee's mindset. I didn't even think freedom. I didn't
Yeah.
think about the freedom that entrepreneurship
Yeah,
can
freedom
provide.
and
Yeah.
flexibility. I mean, those are the new those are the new ways that you win, right? You got
Yeah.
time flexibility and you got financial freedom, and
Yeah.
you're winning.
Yeah. And get rid of all the junk that we have in storage and in closets and stuff that we haven't used in the past 2 years, so we can untether ourselves. That's your
Yes,
word.
yes.
Untether
Thank you,
ourselves.
Simone. Thank you, Simone.
Yes. Thank you,
Yes,
Simone. So we can
yes.
untether ourselves from the stuff and create
Yeah,
that
don't be afraid
freedom.
to downsize. Do not be afraid to downsize at all. You know, purge. If you haven't used it in 2 years, get rid of it.
Mhm. Was it hard for you to get rid? I mean, because you built a life, you had a home, you had a family. Was it hard
Hmm.
to get rid of things that you had for years? The things that were memories, and you know.
Well, my daughter has become the keeper of those sentimental things
Oh,
because I really didn't want them. And it was an emotional purge at first. Like, I got to get rid of everything because everything represented something that was painful.
mhm,
But my daughter had enough foresight to kind of put some things away and say, Mom, you know what? You're going to want to see this again at some point. And so she's the keeper of the most sentimental things. But as far as material things are concerned, the only thing I wanted was my art collection. And
mhm,
that's what I got from the divorce. I didn't want the house because I didn't want to be tethered.
mhm,
Um, so you negotiate based on the life that you want in front of you, not the one that you're leaving behind. And I think that that's really where women get hung up, when they are going through a transition. Well, I can't get rid of this, or I can't, they feel like they're losing. But if you're looking at what you want for your future life, then it doesn't look like a loss. It's a win all the way around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Multifaceted me is saying we never knew we had options because they were never introduced to us.
That's right.
And this is why I have guests like Miss Diamond on my channel so that we can see someone who looks like us that's
Yeah.
doing the unconventional things that we never knew were possible, that we never knew was an option. I never knew that you can eliminate your overhead costs by house sitting.
Hmm. Hmm.
Get rid of the mortgage and the rent and house it and live for free.
Yeah.
I, I still don't know how she does it full time. So I might be attending that webinar. Like, how, sis? How?
Yes, and you
Yeah.
you don't just fall out of bed one day and do it. It takes strategy, and that's really what my consultations are about. Where do you want to go? Where you see yourself with this? Is it a means to an end, or do you see it, long term? So when you have the correct strategy, you can go in and, set it up so that it works for you, and you're not working for it. Because the last thing you want is another job. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm anti-work. That's a four-letter word for me. I don't work.
Anti-work. I like that. Anti-work. I do house sit a little bit, nowhere near what you're doing, but I do
Yeah.
house sit a little bit while I'm slow traveling. And right now,
Yeah.
my strategy for house sitting is just to pay for accommodations when I go to expensive countries.
There you go. There you go. And
So,
Portugal is not an inexpensive place to be.
mhm.
So, particularly the areas where I am, I've been in the Algarve. That's one of the most expensive
That's a
portions of the
vacation.
country.
Yeah.
Yes, the Silver Coast. So, I get to enjoy those for very little money.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So to be able to do that strategically and full time,
Hmm.
it does take some strategy to it and will
Yeah.
require some consultation. But just in general, when I use house sitting for my accommodations, I use Trusted House Sitters, the website
Yes.
Trusted House Sitters, and it's kind of like I liken it to Airbnb. What about you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I do.
It's
Hmm.
like Airbnb where you put in a search where you're going, your dates, and then it gives you a list of results and you just scroll through and look at the houses, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
And you have your standards the same way. My thing is, if I would pay for it
Hmm.
as an Airbnb, then it's probably a sit that I would accept.
Hmm.
So I'm not just staying any old where.
I know that's right.
It's got to be nice. It's got to be nice.
I know that's right. And I would even go so far as to say it's better than Airbnb because everyone has had a background check.
Exactly.
In Airbnb, you don't know who house you're staying in. I
You
don't know
really
who
don't.
apartment this is.
Right. Exactly.
But an Airbnb, I could see the person. I know they've had a background check. They know I've passed the background check.
And
And
trusted house sitters, yes.
it's
Hmm.
free. I'm with Trusted House Sitters, I'm sorry. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
free. I'm not
Right.
paying.
Exactly, exactly. So there
Yes.
are safeguards built into it. There are other ways to house it, and as you go on your journey, if you decide this is something you want to monetize down the road, you certainly can. But you don't have those same safeguards that you
Mhm.
do with a company like Trusted House Sitters. So they keep me busy, and I love it. Hmm.
Amazing. So Miss Greta said she's definitely not retiring in the US, so she's with you. When her
Okay,
kids are
let's
cool,
go.
she wants to use her Social Security and then take only what she needs from her 401k. Her expenses will be a lot less when she's living abroad.
Yes,
Yeah, that's how you
yes,
do it. That's how you do it. I say start with eliminating the expenses as much as you can before
uh-huh.
retirement.
Exactly. I agree.
Eliminate those expenses before retirement. As if you've seen the last video I did on the money moves for women in their 40s, and I talk about some of the decisions that I made that are a little unconventional, just like Ms.
Mm-hmm.
Diamond. I made some
Mm-hmm.
unconventional decisions in order to expedite my financial freedom journey, right? And I significantly reduced my expenses. So if I
Yeah.
had to add anything to that, I would say reduce those expenses now while you can.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Make it a priority.
Mm-hmm. Like Miss Diamond said, untether yourself. Untether yourself from
There
the.
you go.
Yes. Miss Doris had a question for you. She said, a
Uh-huh.
house sitting buddy. You mentioned a house sitting buddy?
Yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
So, Sister Girl and I met in Ecuador 2 years ago, and we became fast and famous friends. And I invited her because when you're house sitting, it's like you live there. So, a lot of hosts will allow you to have a guest. And
Mhm.
in Mexico, while I was there those 5 months, I was afforded a guest, and she came and visited. And she couldn't believe how I was living, and she couldn't believe that I wasn't paying for it. And then
Mhm.
she came and visited when I was in California. This past summer, I had my granddaughter for the summer, and we were in California. She was like, "Wait a minute, how are you staying here?" And we
Mhm.
started talking about house sitting. She signed up. She did a few local sits, and then she said to me, she says, Michigan winters are really cold. I want to escape. Can I, house sit with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's a great idea." So we teamed up. And we've been
Mhm.
together since the beginning of the year. And it's just been fabulous to have somebody with me this year.
Oh, so she's been able to test out the lifestyle.
She's
It.
been able to witness it. That is
Uh-huh.
just the most beautiful thing because you could tell somebody something all day long. Like I'm talking to your financial besties, right? And they're like, "What? It's a thing?" But once
Mhm.
you actually can see it with your own two eyes, somebody
Mhm.
who is really doing it and doing it successfully. So I'm glad to have a witness to it. And
Mhm.
this is just gonna further her journey because she's not
Mhm.
gonna stop.
Right, right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love
So it's
it.
great
I love it.
experience.
Yes, yes. So for those who may be watching that I'm not sure about the house sitting thing, and they're
Hmm.
just thinking retirement in terms of like the traditional sense,
Hmm.
relying on their 401k or accessing their Social Security as soon as they're eligible. Do you
Yeah.
have any general financial advice for women that may follow the more traditional path to retirement?
Um, I would say, as you've said before, just to downsize as much as you possibly can and eliminate those expenses
Yes.
because you don't want that monkey on your back. As
Mhm.
much as you can get rid of while you're still earning, do so. So then that way you can really enjoy and have a retirement that's full of ease. Whatever
Mhm.
that means to you, if you want to, garden all day long every day, don't have to worry about, oh my God, I got this bill or I got that bill. So eliminate it as much as possible so that you can really enjoy your retirement years.
I like what you said. A retirement that's full of ease.
Full of ease.
Full of
Yeah,
ease. You don't want to go into retirement worrying about money.
no.
And there's so many different ways to have a comfortable retirement. And I brought Miss Diamond on to talk about a way that I don't typically talk about. My strategy to a comfortable retirement is investing in the stock market, creating those money babies so you can create new money without labor to have a
I like
comfortable
that.
retirement. Miss
Yes.
Diamond is showing you how to retire by eliminating the biggest expense of your life and still explore the world.
Yeah.
Right? So there's so many different ways to do it depending on your lifestyle, your desired lifestyle, and how much you want to spend doing so. Because I spend a whole lot more than 700 a month. Miss Diamond only
Yeah.
spends 700 a month. So
Right.
if your Social Security check not very long, Miss Diamond's lifestyle sound really nice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I'm always saying to the women in my group, I have a group on Facebook, which is Sisters Who Sit, house sitting. And, it is exclusively for Black women who want to explore this as a lifestyle option. And even if you have a home base and you want to travel, listen, staying in somebody else's house. My daughter was complaining last summer about the electricity being so high, right? Because it was so hot. I was like, well, get a house sit and sit in somebody else's air conditioning. Shut yours down for a little while. Save that money.
I, I,
Use it to your advantage. Means to an end lifestyle. Think outside the box. You
I
want to
would
be gone
never.
for 6 months and you have a home base, get somebody in your house for 6 months while you're traveling and you're making money to cover your expenses on your house. but you're also traveling and not having any expenses for your overhead. So, I mean, there are thousands of ways to use it. And that's what
I
I talk
never
about in my
considered that.
strategy sessions.
I would have never considered that. So here is Miss Diamond's Facebook group, dropping it in the comments. Oh, I don't know if I wrote that right. Let me see.
So,
What
you
did you
know, it's
what's the name of
sisters,
it? Sisters.
SISTAS,
Okay,
sisters who
Sisters
sit.
Who Sit.
Hmm.
Facebook group. I'll repost that. Okay.
Okay.
Sisters Who Sit. So y'all join her Facebook group if you want to learn
Yes, please
more
and thank
about
you. It's all, like I said, it's all
our
Black
city.
women. It's a safe
Mhm.
space because we have other concerns that majority women do not have when they're traveling solo in the
Mhm.
world or house sitting. And we talk about that in, like, again, in a very safe space and very candidly. So I would encourage you, if you have curiosity, join the group and definitely come on, pop into the webinar next on May 4th.
Yes, yes, get that information. Even if you don't decide to house sit, it's still beneficial to join the group and attend her webinar just to learn more information about it,
Yeah.
right? Miss Jametta Johnson had a good comment. She said she's
Hey,
retiring
Janetta.
and she was debating whether she should wait to take her Social Security. But you all confirmed her thoughts to take it now. So, what made you choose to decide to take your Social Security right at 62 as soon as you're eligible?
Well, to be honest with you, longevity. I looked at my parents. My parents were gone from this earth at 79. So
Mm,
I'm like, all right, if I wait to 67, how many years does that give me? Nothing's guaranteed. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
mm.
And again, I can do better with it than the government can because they're not doing anything with it. So that's what made me decide. Is really, my DNA.
Mhm.
Hopefully, I'll live to be 100, but maybe not. So I'm taking it as soon as I can. Who knows if it's even going away? Somebody might get in office and demolish it. I don't know. I want my money.
I agree 100%
That's
with both
my
reasons.
money.
With both reasons. What when someone says, "Oh, I'm going to wait until I'm 65 or wait till 72," I think that's the next
Yes,
milestone. My question back to them is why?
right.
Why wait? If
Why
you can
wait?
access it now, yes, you're reducing the payout a little bit, but if you can access it now, why wait?
And if you know that you have a plan to do something with it, I'm not spending it now. So I can't see, when I turn 62 in August that I'm going to start spending that much more money. So I want to make sure that I'm investing it so that it can continue to grow for me.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
the main thing is tomorrow is never promised.
it is not.
I may not live to see 72. And then the
That's right.
government get to keep all my money. I've been
Mm-mm.
putting into this system for over 20 years.
Come
I
on
ain't letting them
now.
keep all my money. If I kick the bucket at 69 or at 71, because I'm waiting until 72 to draw
Right.
my Social Security, who gonna get all my money that I put in? Some
That's
blojo
right.
that I don't know?
That's
No,
right.
ma'am. Mm-mm.
No, ma'am, not mine. Run me my check.
I don't care if I don't need it.
That's right.
I'm
It's
getting
mine.
my money as soon as I'm eligible.
Amen and hallelujah.
Amen. Amen. We're going to invest in the stock market and make some more money, babies, right?
That's right. I love money babies.
Yes, we love us some money, babies. Let's see, Miss. So another question for you.
Okay.
Let me find it. We're going to take this last question, and it's so late, and I'm going to let you go after this. What
This is
country? Oh,
fun.
good one, good one. What country do you recommend for a Black woman? She said you are dropping nuggets all over the place.
Oh,
Yeah.
blessings.
Mhm.
Listen, wherever you want to go.
Mhm.
That's a loaded question. Everybody asks, what's a safe place for a Black woman? I have been through Central America, South
Mhm.
America, now in the EU. I'm going to Morocco on a 3-week house sit, going back to Costa Rica for a month. I have not felt unsafe in any country that I've traveled, and I have traveled them by myself.
You haven't felt unsafe anywhere?
No, not to
Really?
date. I have not. Now, you use the wisdom that you have, right?
Hmm.
You keep your head on swivel. You make sure that you are, taking security measures to keep yourself safe, your personal items safe, when you're house sitting and when you're traveling. But I have not felt unsafe anywhere.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. I would say I think it depends on how well traveled the person is.
Hmm.
I would say,
Hmm.
right? I think an easy country to transition to that will give you a very, very soft landing is probably Mexico.
Mexico, most definitely.
Because it's so close.
Yeah.
It's relatively inexpensive. I don't use the C word
Hmm.
because it's some things are not cheap.
Well, there are some places in Mexico that are more expensive than others, most definitely. But I agree, it will give you a soft landing.
A soft landing. I would say a country like Panama, because they
Hmm.
speak a lot of the population speak English.
Hmm.
Their currency is the U.S. dollar. So if you are an inexperienced traveler or you only travel for vacation, I think if you were thinking about living abroad or moving abroad for an extended period, look for a country that will give you a soft landing,
Yeah.
something that's close to home and something where you can adapt to relatively easily.
It's interesting, Malika, just to piggyback on that, because I am a big advocate of giving yourself a soft landing wherever you go. And that's one of the beautiful things that has come out of social media is all the support groups that are there. So, like when I went to Ecuador, I aligned myself with the group of Black expats that were already there. They knew I was coming. They were ready to welcome me. Same thing in Mexico, same thing in Panama, same thing in Portugal. That's why I post as much as I do, because we are everywhere. But you need to be intentional when you're going outside. So connect with these groups, because folks have been there longer than you. They can show you the ropes. You don't have to figure it out for yourself anymore. And like I said, they know you're coming. They're like, hey, have you arrived yet, Diamond? Let's get together for lunch or whatever the case may be. So create a soft landing for yourself in any country. And that's why I say I have not felt unsafe.
Um,
Some countries are easier to navigate by yourself as a solo traveler, but feeling unsafe, I have not had that experience. Thank God.
yeah,
Hmm.
community does make a big difference, and that's one thing
Yeah.
I love about you because
Hmm.
to me, you are a community builder.
Thank you.
You are a connector. Like if I tell you, oh, I'm going to Zimbabwe, you be like,
Yeah,
oh, I know somebody in Zimbabwe. Here's my connect. Here's my friend. Tell her I sent you. And I'm like,
that's right.
okay. Hey, Miss Diamond told me.
That's right. That's right. You do not have to do anything alone anymore. And again, I think that's one of the beautiful pieces of social media, how it works at its best.
Yes. And every connection you've ever given me, the individual has always been friendly and
I'm so
helpful.
glad to hear that. Thank you so much. I like getting receipts, girl.
Yes, yes. So I will not hold you any longer. For the financial besties that want to know more about you and want to follow you, where can they find you?
Find me on Instagram and YouTube at the Gallivanting Grandma. And please, on Facebook, join the group Sisters Who Sit, and share and learn.
Sisters Who Sit. The Facebook
Yeah.
group is right here. I will put your YouTube and Instagram when I need to pull your Instagram link, but the YouTube link is already in the description. I will
Okay.
also put the Instagram link in the
Okay.
description as well as your Facebook group also. So
Thank you.
thank you so
Oh,
much.
this
Thank you
has been
so
such a pleasure and a joy, girl. You are just doing it. And
much.
kudos to you for helping the sisterhood move forward financially,
Yeah.
because that's something that, we have not been accustomed to talking about.
Yeah.
And so for you to bring it to the sisterhood in such a manner that you're a trusted advisor, I give you your flowers.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. And
Yes.
with that, I am going to let you go so you can get your beauty rest because I'm sure tomorrow is full of adventure for you in
Girl,
Portugal.
of course, every
I,
day I'm the gallivanting grandma
I
for a
know how you
reason.
are. And your house sitting buddy too. Y'all together. Y'all bad.
Listen, we
Y'all,
good. You
I
know
would
who we gonna bring in, right? We're gonna bring in your mom.
I
We're
hope
gonna
she's
bring her in.
I
If
hope
mom's watching, call me, girl. I got you. Call me.
she need a crew that's adventurous like y'all, because y'all are bad. I tell you, I want to be
Come
like
on,
you when
join
I
the
grow up.
party. Join the party. Absolutely. Girl, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure.
You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed this video, financial besties. And if you did, smash that like button for me, please. Smash that like button. Share the video with a friend. Share a video with a young woman you know who is planning for her retirement, who would like to retire early. And whenever she decides to take that leap of faith, she can do it with ease and without worrying about money. So until next time, I'm going to say bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.